On October 1st, 1944, the St. Louis Browns shocked the baseball world by beating the New York Yankees to win the American League pennant. Public historian Adam Claffey tells us about their one and only pennant win.
First in shoes, first in booze, last in the American League. For much of the first half of the 20th century, you could use this statement to describe St. Louis. First in shoes because this was a major shoe manufacturing hub. First in booze because of the Anheuser-Busch Brewery and the other successful breweries that called St. Louis home. And last in the American League because St. Louis was home to two professional baseball teams, the mighty St. Louis Cardinals of the National League and the St. Louis Browns in the American League, who often finished near the cellar. They just weren't a very good franchise. But that all almost changed in 1944. Of course, in 1944, World War II was going on. A lot of baseball players were off serving their country. In fact, in 1944, only 40% of the players that had been available in 1941 were still available to be playing. That's how many players were off serving in the military during the war. And so the Browns had put together this team of kind of wily veterans, guys that were sort of past military age, some guys who had been dismissed from other teams for bad behavior, drinking, or fighting with teammates or something like that. And they put together this team that ended up being pretty competitive unexpectedly. And on the last day of the 1944 season, after a real back and forth battle for who's gonna win the American League, the Browns find themselves tied with the Detroit Tigers. And the Detroit Tigers are playing, at that point, the worst team, the Washington Senators, and the Browns are playing the New York Yankees, one of the greatest franchises in sports. The Browns take the field on that last day of the season in Sportsman's Park, and they immediately fall behind by 2 runs to the Yankees. And everyone's like, oh no, here we go again. The Browns aren't gonna win. And then an outfielder by the name of Chet Labs ties the game in the 4th inning, hitting a 2-run home run. And right after that, the scorekeeper changes the score to final in the Detroit-Washington game. Detroit had lost to Washington. So all the Browns need to do is win, and they're gonna win the American League pennant. And they come up with some heroics. Chet Labs hits another home run. A different Brown hits a home run. They end up beating the Yankees 5-2 and winning the American League pennant. And people are so excited. This is the first time in Browns history that they're winning the American League. They're going to the World Series. And of course, their opponent in the 1944 World Series is the St. Louis Cardinals, who had won the last 3 National League pennants, and at the time were one of the best teams in baseball, led by Stan Musial. And the Browns, they're more competitive than people think, but they do end up losing that World Series to the Cardinals. And they never repeat as American League champions again. And in 1953, they end up moving to Baltimore. So it's the one season where the Browns win the American League is in 1944. And it's just this very special moment in Browns and in St. Louis sports history.
Learn more about the Missouri Historical Society, visit mohistory.org.